Hi everyone, I'm Dai Nguyen from Vietnam. Today I'm gonna talk about the differences in my life in the US and Vietnam. Actually, I was born and grew up in southern Vietnam. I came to the US 2 years ago. From then, my life changed so much because there's a lot of differences between the US and Vietnam. But now I'll just talk about three differences that I was faced with. Uh, First is weather. There are two seasons in my country, dry and wet seasons, except in northern Vietnam, which has four seasons. During winter, it may dip down to 5 or 6 degrees Celsius. But normally, throughout the year, it is very warm there in the dry or wet season. So, I in comparison, the U.S. has four different seasons: spring, summer, autumn, and fall. So I had to adapt to the new weather. I had to buy new clothes because most of my clothes I brought from Vietnam were suitable for summer only. Next is the difference of culture. In Vietnam, we are allowed to ask strangers' ages, to know which titles to use before their first names. For example, my first name is Dai. A younger person calls me older sister Dai. A kid or a teenager often calls me Aunt Dai, or an older person calls me by my first name without a title to show a close relationship, or he can call me younger sister Dai, something like that. So the title shows how polite you are, but in the U.S., asking strangers' ages is too impolite. Therefore, I remind myself not to mention age, height, and weight with communicating strangers in the U.S. But when they are become my friends, or we have close relationship, I can ask them if I wanna know. The last difference I talk about is cooking. Cooking habits are totally different. In Vietnam, we often cook every day. That means we cook different kinds of food for each day. Some families in Vietnam, they may cook different kinds of food for each meal, because Vietnamese don't like to eat the food cooked after 2 days. Now that I live in the U.S., I realize that I cannot cook every day. American people often buy food a whole week. Then they can spend time with their family members and entertainment. So there are just 3 points to show you the differences in my life in the U.S. currently versus Vietnam in the past. There are more differences between the U.S. and Vietnam, but maybe I will mention more in another video. Thank you for your listening.